In this video, I'm going to be talking about the geology of St. Louis and Missouri. In particular, I'm going to be talking about how the geology of this region has allowed for certain architectural styles to exist because St. Louis is a really interesting and unique history of architecture. I'm going to use three different rocks, pink granite, clay, and limestone, to talk about how their position in Missouri's geologic record has allowed for certain buildings to proliferate in the St. Louis region. The first rock I'm going to talk about is pink granite. Missouri has a considerable number of Precambrian granite intrusions, most of which are concentrated just southwest of the St. Louis region. The building that you're seeing right now is Washington University in St. Louis. They chose to build pretty much all of their buildings out of pink granite as an active design choice to show their dedication to the region being full of granite. Granite, as we discussed in class, is a felsic rock. It's also igneous. It's typically phaneritic, as is most of the granite in Missouri and the granite that you're seeing right now that they used to build WashU. Although you can't see the individual minerals from this shop, but you can see the characteristic pink color of the buildings, which stems from the presence of potassium feldspar. The next material that I'm going to talk about is clay. St. Louis is surrounded by and is quite literally built on top of incredibly large clay reserves. This has to do in large part with St. Louis's position relative to other natural features. Lots of the city's buildings are thus made of brick, which is made of clay. St. Louis sits right below the confluence of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, which has allowed for lots of common and alluvial clay deposits. And historically, as rivers have changed course due to erosion, they've crossed over the state of Missouri, leaving deposits of common clay in different areas. Additionally, glaciation resulted in lots of clay from the north being deposited in and around the St. Louis region. There are many different types of clay, however, as we discussed about in class, many clays contain the mineral kaolinite. It is also common for clays to have burls, that is, aluminum-rich minerals. The clay in St. Louis is concentrated with iron impurities, which gives it the deep red color that you see in these buildings. Also, as a non-earthquake related solid earth in U, because there are so many clay deposits in St. Louis, pretty much all homes, regardless of income or class, are made out of brick. This allowed for an incredible amount of artistry amongst mason workers as opposed to architects, so there's lots of unchronicled great brickwork in and around the city. The last rock that I'm going to talk about is limestone. St. Louis also sits on an incredibly large limestone formation, named St. Louis Limestone, that spans lots of the southern Midwest. As discussed in class, limestone is a sedimentary rock made out of calcium carbonate. As we mentioned in other videos, limestone is conducive to the formation of caves. Acidic rain or groundwater reacts with the calcium carbonate, which, over millions of years, hollows out the caves. St. Louis is consequently built on top of many large caves, which has greatly affected the culture and history of the city. St. Louis is home to many breweries, many of which in the 19th and 20th centuries used the expensive limestone caves to store beer rather than refrigerating it. One of those breweries was the Lemp Brewery, which sat on top of one of the largest caves in St. Louis, the Cherokee Cave. However, this practice wasn't exclusive to Lemp and was used by Anheuser-Busch, Falstaff, and Hyde Park Brewing Companies as well.